Okie dokie. Welcome to the first day of polar. Now, polar is a whole new type of graph. Well, even before we get into that, let's talk about the schedule. Because you'll notice in here, there are no quizzes. You're gonna have a project that's all on Schoology. You'll be making a PowerPoint, blah, blah, blah. But make sure you keep track of that because this is when it's due. So don't get a late grade, sis. But it's all, again, on Schoology. You can go to that folder, figure out everything you're supposed to do. So you're gonna do all that and then take the test on the 16th. There are still the homework quizzes sprinkled in for your homework average, but the only quiz grade is this project. Okay, whoa. So our polar graphs. Normally we've been on the rectangular coordinate system. So that's where we use X and Y. This is also called the Cartesian coordinate system. But now we're gonna do polar coordinates. So instead of using X and Y, we're gonna use R and theta. So radius, angle. Okay, turn the page. Wow, fun. So here's the difference between the two graphs. Here's our rectangular, our Cartesian. This is our X and Y axis. Here's our polar graph. So you'll notice this looks very similar to that big whiteboard I have in the front of the room that had the unit circle on it. That is basically what this is. All these rings are the different radiuses. Okay, so normally when we graph a point on the Cartesian coordinate system, this is X and this is Y. So I would go to 1 on the X axis, and then I would go to like √3 on the Y axis and plot a point there. When you transfer this to the polar graph, the radius is 2 and the angle is pi/3. I already converted it for you. We'll learn how to do that later. But even though it's on a different graph, it technically should be in the same location. So I'm gonna go to the second radius. So here's a radius of 1. This one will be a radius of 2. So I'm gonna be on the second ring. And I'm gonna go to where pi/3 is. Well, pi/3 is about here. So I'll put my point, actually I guess it's more higher. That's about here. So they're both in like quadrant 1. Cool. Okay, so now some vocabulary. The pole is the fixed point used for the polar coordinate system. So like we have the origin. This 0, 0 guy is called the pole. So that's at 0 and then whatever theta is. And then we have the polar axis. This positive Y side is our polar axis. So anytime we use those words, that's what we're talking about. Okay, today we're just gonna look at plotting points. So here's a polar graph. We have a bunch of different radii, a bunch of different angles, and then I gave you the coordinates here. So again, remember the first number is R, the second number is theta. Now, different things happen when it's positive versus negative, so let's take a look at how to graph these points. So first, I'm gonna be straightforward and just do 3, 5 pi/6. So I prefer to find the angle first, so I'm gonna find 5 pi/6, which is here, and I'm going to the third radius. So on this line, first, second, third radius. So here is point B. Easy enough. Now C, we have a negative R value. But again, I'm gonna find the angle first. So I'm going to 5 pi/4, which is here. And then I would go to a radius of 2, which is right here. That would be the answer if this was a positive 2. Because this is negative, you're going to reflect across. So I would be right here, but now I'm gonna go across, and now I'm right here. So that's point C. Woohoo! Okay, point D looks pretty straightforward. However, I don't see a 7 pi/2 on my unit circle or my polar graph because 7 pi/2 is more than 2 pi. So that's 1/2, 2/2, 3/2, 4/2, 5/2, 6/2, 7/2. So 7 pi/2 is the same thing as 3 pi/2. Remember, coterminal. That's what we're doing here. Back at it. So on this axis, I'm going to 3. And that'll be D. Okay, last one. I have 2 negatives. So my R value is just, we're gonna reflect across once we find the angle. What is that? It says across. This negative means we're just going in the negative direction. So when I count that angle, I'm gonna go down instead of up. They're being kind of noisy in the hallway, but it's fine. Okay, 14 pi over 3 isn't a thing, so you need to find a coterminal angle. Now you can sit here and add 2 pi over and over again to figure out who it is, but I'm just gonna count. So I gotta count by thirds. 1/3, 2/3, 3/3. I'm going all the way to 14. And remember, I'm going down because it's negative. So 1/3, 2/3, 3/3, 4/3, 5/3, 6/3, 7/3, 8/3, 9/3, 10/3, 11/3, 12/3, 13/3, 14/3, 14/3. That's where we're at. Right here. So that should be the same thing as 5 pi over 3. Okay, so this is where I would put the point. I'm on a radius of 2. However, the 2 is negative, so I'm going to reflect across. And why? I feel like this is wrong. I'm gonna count again. That's where I think it is. Let's triple check. 1/3, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. Well, now I'm confused. I'm gonna do it one more time. Okay, everybody rewind. We get the process though. I'm not gonna restart this video. No editing here. I reflected across, but I gotta figure out who this is. Ugh. Okay, it's fine. Everybody's fine. 1/3, 2/3, 3, 4, 5, 6. Makes sense. Okay, this is 6 thirds. So this is 12 thirds. 13, 14. It's right here. It's right here. It's right here. Okay, it's right here. So now that this is where negative 14 thirds is, now I reflect across. Right beside little C girl. If I confused you, I'm sorry. Ask your neighbor. Ask Jeffrey. Okay. We're practicing some more though, it's fine. Turn the page. Whew. We're counting to 14, it's hard. So looking at example 2 now, I gave you a little baby polar graph. We're gonna plot point A, which is at 2, 45 degrees. So that's 45 degrees is here, radius of 2. So here is A. We're gonna find 3 other polar representations of this point. So I want 3 other points that would land right here too. So the first thing I would do is just change it to radians. So that's pi over 4. So there's one. Let's see. What if I went negative? So 1/4, 2/4, 3/4, 4/4, 5/4, 6/4, 7/4. So 2, negative 7 pi over 4. There's another one. Oh, negative 7 pi over 4. And then what if the point was right here, but I reflected it across? So let's do like a negative 2. And then how many fourths would this be? 1/4, 2/4, 3/4, 4/4, 5/4. Yay. Okay, now we're gonna do the same thing. Plot point B though. So 1 pi, pi is over here, but I'm only going to 1. And let's list some other points. So I'm gonna do 180, that's easy. Say I was at 2 pi and I wanna reflect across, that'd be negative to make it reflect across. And then what if I went around again? So plus 2 pi. And again, those aren't the only answers. You could have done a bunch of different things, a bunch of coterminal angles. You could have done a bunch more degrees, but yay. Okay, last section we're gonna do together for plotting points. We're gonna name each point on the graph in 2 ways. So here's all these points that are graphed for me. I need 2 degrees and 2 radians for each. So let me get some colors out. Let's do pink and purple, that's a good time. Okay, let's start with point A. Now I try to label this for you because you get it. So point A, the radius is 2, and let's do degrees first. 60 degrees. So the other way I'm gonna do it is I'm just gonna do a coterminal. So I'm gonna add 360s to just go around again. So 60 plus 360, 420. Okay, now I need the same point, but in radians. So it's still 2, but we're gonna do pi over 3. Excuse me. And if I'm gonna do a coterminal angle, I'll add 2 pi. So 7 pi over 3. Okay, find B. That's at 30 degrees. And the radius is 1, 2, 3, 4. And let's do this one different. What if I went negative? So it'd be negative what? 330? Cool. You could have added 360 and done like 390, but we're changing it up here. So let's do the radians. So 4, and that's at pi over 6. And I'll just add 2 pi to this one. So 13 pi over 6. If you're getting confused, pause the video, ask a neighbor, hey, what the heck's going on? But I'm gonna keep going. So C is over here now. So I need to kind of continue. I noticed this includes the 12ths, so it adds 15 each time. So that'll be 105 plus 15 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 plus 15. I know this is 270. I think that takes care of all my points. Okay. So letter C is at 150 degrees. Oh, what radius? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. Let's just add 360. So 510, that's a coterminal angle there. For the radians, what's the radian at 150? What pi is right here? 5 pi over 6. Right? Yeah, that's right. Okay, let's do one where I jump across. So if I want to reflect it over here, that means I need to be on this line. So that's just down pi over 6. So negative pi over 6. Cool. Let's jump to D. So her degree is 240, but the radius is 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's add 360, just do a coterminal. Okay, the radian at 240 is 4 pi over 3. And then what if I go negative? This would be 1/3, 2/3. So negative 2 pi over 3. Like if I just went down instead of up. Cool. All right, one more. E. E is on a radius of 1, 2, 3 at 270 degrees. Let's go, what if we went negative? That'd be negative 90 degrees. Again, these aren't the only answers. You can do whatever you wanted here. So the radian there is 3 pi over 2. But let's do another like reflect across. Let's make this negative 3, which means I need to come up here so I could have reflected it across. So if I'm up here, that's 90, so that's pi over 2. Cool. Okay, and that's plotting points. Turn the page to page 4. There's your assignment. You're just plotting some points, practicing that, looking at some other representations on 7 and 8. But then make sure you check your answers for that page on Schoology. Bye-bye.